Heyo, and welcome to today. Today we are going to continue the missing sister murder trial. I know that they have renamed it on Law and Seaward to Arizona Teen Cold Case Murder Trial. Now that is always interesting because normally they keep with one headline the entire trial unless they think something went wrong, either with their chat sorry, or they had a poll that went wrong or something of that sort. So it will be interesting. I will probably keep calling it the missing sister, or I might probably change name too, because people who are sick of Law and Seaward or Court TV tend to do the same. They start calling it something else, and then people who doesn't want to watch the Law and Seaward, then they will go look for the exact same wordings. And maybe they will find me. Who knows? Who knows? So that is what we are going to do today. Now, the reason I started a little bit early is that Law and Seaward are starting their coverage at the same time. Now, we will see if they will start with something from day one. But, well, I don't really need them to do that. I can give you that myself. But let's just see here. Yeah, you see they started 1:57. So they are at the same start time as I was supposed to be. Hello, everybody. Fedoreski, Kim, Greedy, Neo Dark Matter. Sal is here. Hey, Sal. Salvador is at work now, I hope. But he will get himself to courthouse after his lunch. So he will hopefully they will let him in. So he then in the afternoon session will give us some insights on what is actually going on inside the courtroom. How does the jury react, and stuff like that. So maybe I should send him a a link to afternoons, but I will do that in my break. Yeah. So hello, everybody. Yes, Thursday was the day one of this trial. And that was interesting. The prosecution's opening statement was not nearly as convincing as I had hoped for. And the defense opening statement was stronger. But then you had the issue with the defense attorney having just half an arm. So I was a bit distracted by him waving around the stump. And nothing against people with disabilities. Yes, Captain Have Fun, I am live. Now, this is not against the people with disabilities, but one thing about when you are at trial is you don't want to get people distracted from the things you want to say. So I'm not exactly sure how effective it was to show everybody he had a stump. And that's just my opinion. You might have other opinions, but that is my opinion. Now, I am, for you who doesn't know, this is also being live on Rumble, on my Rumble channel. So if you prefer that, let's see here. Then we are live there as well. And this is the link if you want to go there instead. And yeah. There it is. It's a long link, but hopefully you can see it there. So, yeah, where was it? Yes, the defense opening statement had, in my opinion, a better opening statement. And, but as I said, not sure. Oh, hi. Hi, David. Good to see you. Yeah. We will see what happens in the future. Now, yeah, but to keep on with the day one. State's opening statement, not as strong as I would have wished for. Because everything leading up to this trial has been quite convincing that this guy had something to do with his stepdaughter's disappearance. But then their opening statement was weak. Their first witness didn't give the prosecution much. But the cross-examination was interesting because they got that witness, the state's witness, to tell the jury and the audience that the defendant, the night of her disappearance, went out looking for her, called around to her friends looking for her, did everything normal when your kid is missing. And that was interesting. I did not expect that. Did not expect that at all. And oh yeah, Swedish snooze. If you see me taking something in and out of my mouth, that would be nicotine pouches. Don't do that, kids. It's addictive. Yeah, the first witness. And then when the prosecution on redirect tried to get more information, it didn't really get anywhere on the first witness. And we are still waiting for Law and Crime. And hey, nice. Hi, K-Tribe. Hopefully there's a redirect going on, but you never know. Then the second state witness was the missing girl's half sister. That would be Sarah Turney, the sister of the missing girl Alissa Turney. Oh, Vice's raid. Hey. Hello. Valhalla. Everybody, happy birthday to Valhalla. He turns older today. Vice's raid. Nice. Thank you, Jeff. Thank you. Much appreciated. So you're going from one trial to another. It's happy. Damn, that's a lot of people in here. Lorax raid. Yeah, and happy birthday to Valhalla. Yay. Soulless ginger. I used to be almost. I had reddish beard and semi-reddish hair once upon a time when then it turned to ash. Yeah, this is the home for dad jokes. And I do attest that ginger people have souls, not their own. They collect other people's souls. Came here to say hi. Yeah. Thank you, Jeff. Everybody subscribe to me and let him know you're just stopping by to say hi. Oh, and happy 12th birthday, Valhalla. Yes, I don't know how long this trial will go on. Today, there will be a morning stream. There will be an afternoon stream. They might overlap a bit because I have a tendency to stop, talk about what's happening, and then move on. So I try to catch up during the breaks and stuff. Ginger man, yeah. Line red. This is a great point. The problem with a lot of this is going to be time. Cannot imagine having a great memory 23 years after the fact. Yes, and that was the issue with the state's two first witnesses. The friend of the family trying to remember things from when she was 14. And that's a hard age to remember stuff from 23 years later. Really hard. And then, so their first witness was good. She made a good impression at first, at least, on the direct examination. And it was very emotional. Then on cross-examination, not so good, because all of a sudden the emotions stopped blank. And it didn't help that the first witness had a Karen haircut and a Karen face. And so during the cross, they got the first witness to admit to that the defendant, the missing girl's stepfather, the night of the missing, she went missing. He went out looking for her. He called all her friends. He called the cops, trying to get the cops to get there immediately. So that was interesting. That was really interesting. And then on redirect, the state tried to get things back to emotional and stuff like that. But that, once the emotions stopped so immediate, and then the waterfalls turned on again, for me, that wasn't a good look. If you're wondering, we are waiting for LNC to start. That is why yes, this is a different trial. This is the Arizona teen cold case murder trial. This on the picture there is Alissa Turney. The smaller picture is a stepfather, Michael Turney. She has been missing since 2001. And case went cold. Cops did nothing, virtually nothing, the first 6 years. Then they did a little bit of investigation, didn't find anything. They got the search warrant, and they found with the defendant something they called pipe bombs. So he went to prison for having explosives and silencers at home. They were accusing him of going into the electricians' union to shoot things up. So he got 10 years. He got out in 2017. 2019, Alissa's sister, Sarah, started a podcast about her missing sister. And that led to a lot of media coverage in 2019 and 2020. So in 2020, Michael Turney was arrested. And now, 2.5 years later, here's the trial. And no, it's okay. I do think he has redirect to me as a default. So that might explain why he forgot to say anything. So thank you, Jeff, for not preparing your audience for me. For you who don't know me, for you who are completely new and wondering, oh, my Wi-Fi is... We have bad weather here in Sweden, so my Wi-Fi, my internet is somewhat unstable, but it should be all right. Hi, I'm Nick. I'm a Swedish union rep. I do labor law. This means I am trained in evidence evaluation. I'm trained in interviews, negotiations, mitigations, and with that as base, I'm hoping I can guide you through this trial. I'm not an American lawyer, but the baseline is still there. Evidence evaluation, listening to witnesses, evaluating witnesses, and stuff like that. So hopefully I can guide you through this. And we are still waiting for the trial to start. It is day 2 of this trial. I am not Ian. Danny Ahn says that I'm the older brother to Danny and Ian in the elf family or Gandalf family, whatever you... I don't have a Wi-Fi. I'm trying to pronounce W-I-F-I. That's... Ronka's not American either, but we still... Good point. I believe that as long as I have something comprehensive to say, I'm not saying I'm here to dumb things down, because I don't believe in dumbing things down. It's just a matter of explaining what's going on. Wi-Fi. Oh, but it's the same. People are trying to teach me how to pronounce the chat, because that ch sound is not in Swedish. So I've been for 6 months now. I've been pronouncing it chat. And apparently that's wrong. Can be misinterpreted, and I will try to say chat instead. Yay! Yeah. Of the actors, I like the other one more, but yeah, I prefer being compared to Gandalf than Saruman. Just pretend you're choking chat. I don't think that helps, but thank you. When this trial ended Thursday, not ended, when day one ended Thursday, they said they would be back at 10 a.m. Monday. But so maybe they are just waiting the same. They're just waiting the way we are waiting. So I have this in the background, so I will see when it starts. Wi-Fi. Wi-Fi. Just I will say it someday in the future. I will learn how to pronounce it, and you can mock me meanwhile. That was perfect. Wi-Fi. Oh, and Civil sent us to Vices. He sent us to you. That's nice. Thank you thank you, Kurt, and thank you, Jeff. Yeah. So that. Oh, this. Don't you love it when your doctor sends a prescription for the pharmacy to say it did he send? I miss paper scripts. Oh yeah, email prescriptions are, yeah, not fun. What now? Where was I? Yeah, first witness couldn't really. They couldn't really bring it back. Not for me, at least. Maybe for the audience from Thursday, maybe for the Law and Seaward audience. For me, it didn't really work. Then second witness was Sarah, the half sister of the missing girl, and I was expecting a lot more. A lot more. It was mellow. I've heard so much about this trial. I've been doing my very best to actually not look at other evidence or her podcast or anything of the sort. But I was expecting a bit more. Yes, Sarah is still on direct. And they have barely hit the day Alissa disappeared. They have been going through what the house looked like at the time, where the cameras were, recordings and stuff. And yeah, Michael Turney, I would say, has proper OCD. He has recordings of every phone call he has made and received since 1991. So, yeah, is it because of paranoia? Maybe. I'm not a psychologist or a psychiatrist. Maybe someone during the trial will show up to testify about that. But if you keep recording of every phone call since 1991, I would call that proper OCD. Not the OCD you hear from TikTokers. Oh, I have so much OCD. This is proper. This is a problem OCD. Why do they think it's the stepdad? Do they even know she's for sure dead? The only thing is suspicion. I agree with you. But there are some things that will not be shown in trial. There are allegations of SA. There are no evidence of it besides a contract he wrote with Alissa that stated that he had never essayed her, and a lot of things. And that is really, really creepy. That is really, really weird. It is really, really, really suspect. But is it evidence? Yeah, the defense counsel only has one arm. So you're in for a show. I don't think, because hoarding more than OCD, because hoarding would be because the house was cleaned. There weren't an excess of stuff. It was the recordings. And he also had cameras inside and outside of the home to record things. I agree. This is damned if you do, damned if you don't kind of thing. If he allegations, oh, but he didn't do anything about it, that means he's guilty. Allegations, why did he write a contract? That's suspicious. That means he's guilty. So it's, but from a pure legal point of view, it means they have a contract that says that she signed. Now she was not, she was a minor, so it has no effect at all. But that's it. A contract that said my stepdad did not SA me, and a bunch of other stuff. And we are still waiting for the LNC. Yeah. So there are a lot of things that will, if you have seen her podcast, if you have read the newspapers, if you have watched other people's true crimers trying to stream, you might know a lot more than I do. But you have to realize the jury only sees what will be presented in court. And I will try to do my best to only refer to things as they are presented in court. And let's do the housekeeping YouTube stuff. You know this already. Like, subscribe, and stuff like that. If you want to support the channel financially, well, you have the super chat. I prefer if you become members. It's $3 a month. There's members only content. I have votes, so you as members are highly involved in the development of this channel. If you want to support cash but don't like to give YouTube money, I have a link pinned on the top of the chat to PayPal. And I'm also, for you who don't know, this stream is on Rumble. Just look for Nick Starows Trial Watch or Niklas Starows Trial Watch, and you will find me there if you prefer Rumble. You're very welcome. You're very welcome. And here's Mo. Here's Mo. And yes, I'm Swedish. I use snus or nicotine pouches, as they are called here. It's called snus here, but you might call them nicotine pouches that are put under the lip. Don't do that, kids. Nicotine is highly addictive. Yeah, the thing is, which the defense brought up in their opening statement, between 2001 and now, there is no new evidence at all, apparently. So that there will be a whole lot of witnesses doing testifying. Will this lead to a second degree murder conviction? I don't know. It depends on what the prosecution actually brings forward. If all they have is dad's a bit of a creep, a weirdo, he records stuff, is that enough? Because during their cross-examination of the first witness, who was a friend of the family, it was revealed that Alissa was a free spirit, so to speak. She allegedly drank, allegedly smoked pot, allegedly had a bunch of fights with dad. So for me, it's not entirely out of the realm that she actually just ran away and started a new life somewhere else. Or sadly, what happens to a lot of kids who run away and are never found again is because sadly they end up in the absolute wrong place at the wrong time. Yeah, she might have been a regular 17-year-old, but her stepfather was not a regular guy. So might very well be. We don't know. He has argued all this time that he received a phone call a week after she disappeared from her. She was in Florida. Also in Florida, they had an aunt. Aunt has since passed away. And so that's the only evidence of her being alive after she disappeared, is his word that he received a phone call. And then, but also during the cross-examination of the first witness, the friend of the family, it was revealed that he managed to get the phone records from AT&T, or if whatever phone company he used. So at the time, he had evidence of him receiving a phone call from Florida. Now, that doesn't necessarily say it was her, the missing Alissa. It might have been a phone call from the aunt, but I'm not sure there is an actual recording of it. And that is the weird part of this. His OCD of recording everything. But the day of the disappearance, there's no recordings. There's no tapes. There's no recording of that phone call. Oh, California? Was it California? Yeah, we will find out. We will find out as soon as the trial starts. So let me just update this. No, we're still waiting for them. We are 4 minutes to 10 Arizona time, so we will see if it... Chat is traveling the world today. US, South Korea, Sweden. Yay! Here the camera in event specifically spy on the missing girl. So far, that's not in evidence, to my knowledge. Yeah, he picked her up from school early. Here's the thing, also which was revealed. It was the last day of the school year. So it wasn't a full day. So that makes it less abnormal for him to pick her up early, because it wasn't a full school day. Is Sal arrested yet? Sal will go there during lunch. Does Dad have a history of mental health disorders or issues? Not that it has been revealed in trial yet. I would argue that at least severe OCD because of the his collection of tapes. He had both inside and outside cameras, and he recorded every phone call since 1991. So I would argue he has some issues at least. Also, we found out that he was in law enforcement in the 1970s. So you could argue that Michael Turney knew how to cover his tracks. You could argue. But is it evidence? Because also if he does what every normal parent would do, go out, look for her, call her friends and stuff like that, then it's damned if you do, damned if you don't again. He threatened to blow up a union office, and numerous pipe bombs were found in his home. Yeah, we found a few of the pictures from that raid, and what I saw, the canisters were about, I don't know, because when I heard maybe 4 or 5 inches long, barely a thumb. But when I heard pipe bombs, I was imagining, like probably most of you, big stuff. But at least not in those photos, I could see anything that resembled it. There was this gun/rifle. So he was charged with and convicted of having 27 pipe bombs, 4 fire bombs, and silencers. He has disagreed with this prosecution and conviction, but he did take a plea deal. So yeah. But I have to say this, I personally want this guy to be guilty. I do. On an emotional and moral level. But going there has to be evidence. And if evidence isn't in court, because you have to remind ourselves that he called the cops the evening of the disappearance and begged them, please come help me look for my daughter. They didn't give 2 craps on a straw. They showed up a week later. And even her sister and a friend said there's no evidence of a struggle. Nothing about, no blood, no DNA, no nothing in her bedroom. Nothing. She did leave her phone behind. And a necklace her boyfriend gave her. That's weird. So here you can argue one way or the other. That means she didn't leave voluntarily, or she wanted nothing of her old life. So she ditched her boyfriend, ditched the phone, because daddy might find her with a phone. I actually haven't had long hair for centuries. My last haircut was just before Christmas 2019, and then my barber went out of business during this 3-year, 2-year hiatus that affected the world. Who am I? Hi. I am a Swedish union rep. I do labor law. That means evaluation of evidence. I have experience in interviewing witnesses. I have experience in negotiations and mitigations, and as a union rep, I do 2 things mainly. I do what's it called in English now? Individual workers' rights and negotiations. Those are my 2 areas. And so I do also a lot of safety inspections and stuff like that. And when accidents do happen in one of the workplaces I am responsible of, not me responsible of, but as a union rep, if there are members and a union, I show up to help. Nothing bad about dad on phone. I don't know. Nothing. This is the second day of trial, so I really don't know. We are still waiting for Law and C word. I will see if Court TV has started anything yet. Nope. Let's see here if it's something on their front page. Dun dun dun. No. Let's see here. Any news? Watch live? No, not Court TV. So we are still waiting for Law and C word to get their thumb out of the thumbs out. So that is what we are waiting for. Can I come to the States and help Southwest with their contract negotiation with the pilots union? 3-year expired contract and companies being a butthole. Not my area, and it's the same here. Airlines are, how do I say this as diplomatically as I possibly can? You have been watching the Melly trial. You know the blood thing about changing C's for B's? Yeah. Airlines are bunts. Should I? Yeah, sure. I can send them invites so they can help me out here. David, Mo, help me entertain. Let's see here. There. David has, and where is Mo? There is Mo. They have links, so they can show up if they can. Speak slowly. Okay, I will try. Let's see, girls tend to verbally vent more than guys when upset, but sometimes the people you usually vent to are the ones you're upset with, and you just got to walk off the upset. Okay. The boyfriend is on the witness list, I believe, so we will hear her state of mind from his perspective. Yeah. Here's the thing. This is 23 years later. It's virtually impossible to remember things 23 years ago. I vaguely remember my teen years, and that's a good thing. What's good with teens nowadays is that if they don't remember, they can check their phone and stuff like that. We didn't have smartphones or camera phones or stuff like that when I was a kid, and I'm very happy about that. My teen years was interesting, and I'm very, very, very happy there were no camera phones around at the time. At best, you had a roll of you could take 30, 36, 24 pictures, but the flash only had 4 sides. So if you wanted to take photos of, say, somebody like me, who may or may not had his first beer before the age of 18, and first of all, you need to see me. Second of all, you need to have me stand still long enough for you to get the camera up, the flash on. Thank God for no smartphones in my teen college. Oh, hell yeah. Valhalla just dewormed 23 goats. I'm sweating entirely too much. I hope that is giving them medication and nothing else. Let's see. Okay. You guys in the chat, you have different entirely different discussions than I am talking about here. David can be on in 5 minutes. I haven't heard anything from Mo. But they have links. Oh, I saw here. Wait. Oh, and for those who wonder, I have an asshole cat who actively tries to kill me. And yeah, happy birthday, Valhalla, again. Happy birthday to And so if you hear me scream out, ow, that would be my cat tenderizing my legs with his claws. And also for you who don't know, I'm on a farm. The cat is an outdoor. He walks in and out as he pleases, and so I'm just the person who cleans his litter box and gives him food. If I'm lucky, I get 90 seconds of patting the cat a day, and he will probably let me know if he's done being petted, because then it's yeah. Are you discussing drinks? Well, I guess that's yeah, Valhalla is always a good panelist, but he has been deworming goats. So I will wait until he has showered and stuff like that. Yes, I'm cat's servant, technically. But yeah, he is at my feet at the time. So this can get really interesting. Why are you late? The thing is, on Thursday, Court TV forked up this stream royally during lunch. And so I wouldn't trust that everything goes smoothly. And with the Law and Sea World's stream. But can always hope. Let's see here. See here if I can find some other. Oh, nope. Let's see here. Boom. Yay! Mo!
Hey, guys.
Hey! And David! Hey!
Hello.
How are you all doing?
Oh, you caught me before I head into court, and that's what I'm doing.
Yeah, and we are waiting for Law and Sea World to start. This trial, according to what they said on Thursday, would start at 10 a.m. Arizona time, which is 15 minutes ago, and they would start with a prosecution's motion to address. I believe that the prosecution believes that the door was opened to the SA allegations. The problem is it was them who brought forward the contract. And then you come into the issue with, can you really open your own door?
You really can't from a fundamental level. I'm assuming there was a motion eliminating for trial.
Yeah.
Where the defense said, don't bring in the SA allegations. The judge said, yeah, you can't unless the defense opens the door. Or, unless the defense opens the door. So if the state is trying to bring in the SA allegations, That's not the defense opening the door. I didn't see it though, so be curious to see what they have to say in this motion.
Yeah, because the prosecution brought it up in their opening statement, and it was objected to. And here's the thing with this judge: he said, "No, let it continue, not overrule, not sustained, just keep going." So this was then brought up in the break before lunch. That
well, because then it's not appealable, right? If the judge doesn't sustain or overrule the objection, you have no ruling on which you can appeal.
Oh, yeah.
I mean,
so they do have
theory, right?
Yeah, but they do still have the objection. And that's really weird if he doesn't make a ruling on the objection, but still lets the prosecution go on with saying stuff about that contract, alleged contract so far.
Yeah. I mean, it definitely causes a problem. What I see a problem with this case in general, though, and I don't know much about it because I'm not streaming it and I haven't watched anything outside of your coverage, is that 23 years ago, or in 2001, they had all the information that they're now presenting to the court.
Yeah.
And no new evidence. But what has changed in the last 23 years? What has changed is that 23 years ago, I believe the onus was on the state, and juries were less likely to convict just because someone was charged. Whereas today, they're more likely to convict just because someone was charged. And I think that's what they're betting on.
Oh. Yeah, that would be horrific because, as I've said earlier, for the sake of Alissa, I want this guy to be guilty. But if there is no evidence, and so far in this trial, the defense got out of, during the cross of the first witness, got her to say that he was out looking for her. He called the cops, please get over here. He called all of her friends. I mean, even if it's law enforcement, that doesn't speak covering the tracks to me. If he actively tries to get cops over there. But they simply did not care. It took them a week to get there. And also during the cross-examination, they got a friend of the family to say, well, more or less, well, he is weird, but he actually looked for her. And
right.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wasn't terribly convinced by the first witness, and I only caught half of the direct of the other sibling, the sister. So I don't know what she had to say towards the end of her direct examination. But I wasn't convinced by the opening statement, right? And the opening statement is supposed to be, this is all the evidence that we have. This is what you're going to hear. And even then, I wasn't convinced.
No, it was a weak... and then the defense opening statement was shown later. We listened a bit to the defense opening statement, and then the first part of the defense opening statement was played at the very end of the stream because Court TV forked up. And you have that issue. It was a good opening statement, but I was distracted. As I said earlier, there's nothing for this against people with a disability. I don't know if he lost his arm or if he was born without an arm, but I was distracted.
A little bit. It was a little bit distracting.
People.
Yeah. Yeah, because when he goes that down and articulates with the stump, I'm going. I'm not really.
It's all you see, right? And it's not a bad thing. We're not making fun of the guy, but it's all you see when he's gesturing with it and pointing with it, because it's not normally what we see. So, yeah, it was a bit distracting.
Yeah, we don't know. We simply do not know.
And the other thing is the state openly admits we don't have a body, we don't have a crime scene, we don't have a murder weapon, we don't have DNA, we don't have an eyewitness, we don't have all these things. Which that's what it's just like. Okay, well, what do you have other than suspicion? I know I was hassled a bit by unnamed characters in the chat about my suspicion thing, but that's really all they have is suspicion in my mind. Thus far, I haven't seen the case yet.
Okay, so do you think it's a change in juries? Because do you think this would have been brought in the 80s? Or,
No.
I mean, it didn't happen in the 80s, but would prosecutors would have felt as safe bringing it in front of a jury with this nothing that they have? I mean, they have suspicion.
No. Looking at a lot of these cold cases that they're starting to rebring, or bring again, and I don't think so. I think this is a phenomenon that's been around for 10 years or so, but not really before that. Not in the 80s, not in the 90s.
No,
weird little phenomenon.
It's all this change towards not being able to convict on bad evidence started with OJ, and then we had an upward trajectory. And now when we are covering the Jodi Arias trial, it's a really good prosecution. It's a thorough investigation. It's evidence, high and low. It's a good prosecution. But now, 10 years later, we have seen. Now I can still see why did they convicted murder. But then you have the Zachariah Anderson case, which is a travesty that it even went to trial. It's probably one of the weakest cases I have ever seen up until now.
I'm looking at Janet AKM in the chat. So not even circumstantial evidence. Well, they had circumstantial evidence. They have it now. It's the same circumstantial evidence.
Yeah.
My point is that if that was enough to bring charges, why didn't they bring it 22 years ago? And my suspicion is because they have juries that are more favorable to these. Well, it's possible that he did it, so I'm going to convict, as opposed to beyond a reasonable doubt.
Yeah. And you also have 2019, the sister Sarah, her podcast. Her TikTok had 800,000 followers in 2021.
I was going to say, that's interesting. I didn't know the sister had a podcast. I'd like to actually listen to that podcast.
Yeah, I don't, because I want to see what's going into the trial. But damn it.
Well, I'm not streaming the trial and analyzing it regularly, so I might just go ahead and listen to the podcast.
Yeah, sure.
But that's another interesting phenomenon. Like you had the same thing with Anad Syed. He was eventually acquitted because of a podcast. Or you have Making of a Murderer or Making a Murderer with the Stephen Avery case. You have these outside influences now affecting real life cases, and it's a weird sort of world we're living in.
Yeah, and so my issue also with this trial is, was it because of pressure from the public? You need to prosecute this guy. And this is a guy, the prosecution has been doing law since 1975. He's 75 years old. He's been a prosecutor for the last 30 years. Never been opposed in election. I don't know. It might just be that they were pressured to, and remember, this guy has been in jail since August of 2020. And then you have the pipe bomb thing. He was convicted to spend 10 years. He spent 7 years. Now this is known all throughout the area, but probably won't be brought up in trial, because this is 6 years later after her disappearance. So it's not only, it's a prior act today, but it was not a contemporary act at the time. So I don't know how
Griffin,
that
come here.
ever would be allowed into trial.
Do you see how the cats
Hey!
are picked up at my house?
Yep.
They've given up the will to live. Okay, you can. It's like,
That I
Mo,
guess
did you
that's
move
the
your
first-
studio?
yeah, because the
Okay.
murder board had to have the L brackets on it, so it didn't,
The murder
Final
board.
Destination me in a hilarious and ironic way.
I love your murder board.
Yeah, I'm hoping tomorrow on Prime Day that the Zoomy camera thing that you have, because now I'm jealous, goes on sale so I can do the Zoom thing, because
Mm.
It's a nice camera.
and then I can maybe talk the Delphi people into letting me take it in,
Mm.
where I'll have to learn how to curse
Flux.
internally.
Yeah, I'm still working with my $30 webcam.
Well,
So
when you
i-
have
if
things
you-
you want to zoom on, it's hard. It's like,
Mm.
how do I set up
Yeah.
8 different?
So members and chat. Did I pronounce that correctly? Chat. Yep. Oh,
Very
yay!
good.
Yeah. If you want me to have better camera stuff, become members, gift memberships. Go on PayPal. Give me monies, and I will get a better camera. I suck at grifting. I'm still wondering how the other people do it. I have no
Listen,
idea.
send money so Drunk Nick can buy more fun things. Drunk Nick is awesome, and he must buy all the things.
Called villkor.
What is that?
Don't make that a term to your PayPal only to Drunk Nick, because then it becomes alcohol and stupid stuff. If you want to know
Ooh.
how
Wow.
stupid stuff, check David's tie and imagine a whole suit.
Yeah, that's right. I said it in my stream earlier today. You backstage ordered something for yourself that you don't know what it is. So I'm really excited for you to see what it is. But this time I know in advance. So it'll come in probably another 6 weeks or so.
Here's the thing. No, I don't black out when I'm drunk. It's just that once I'm done with the day, if it's not important, I leave it behind, because I have new stuff to do. And I have a very, very old brain. I can't fit that much in it. That's it. If I bring in too much, I forget other things. Like walking upstairs.
Josie just gifted 5 memberships.
Oh,
Ooh, thanks, Josie.
thank you so much, Josie. When did you do it?
Just
When
now.
did-
It happens with Harper, Ian D, Jingleberry, Femnatel, and Jen Star J. All got gifted memberships.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, It's Me Josie. That's very appreciated. And for you who just became members, there's members only stuff in on the channel. I have a Discord. I will post a new link in for you to use. Then I have to go to Discord to get a link.
I do have court, though. I need to jump off and go into court. I was hoping to catch part of this trial, but I don't think I'm going to be able to. I'm going to have to play catch up when I'm done.
No, we're still
Knowing this
waiting
judge
for
I'm in front of,
to-
it's going to be forever.
Yeah, because the trial should have started at 10 a.m. today, so they are half an hour late.
Oh my
Well, it
gosh,
seems like they
another
operate
court.
like a Texas court, right? It's just we'll
It
go when we decide.
I mean, I never considered myself a Yankee, but y'all are making me like, do you have a time period? Is there a time? Are we aiming for February? What are we doing here?
I don't know, because I'm watching Court TV doesn't have their feed up for this trial. And Law and Seaward started at 9:30 and they are still not on. So I'm not actually sure. We are all waiting for the streams to actually show up. Let's see here. My channel, for you who are new members. I'm going into community now. I'm doing a members only. And that would be the Discord link. And there, it's posted.
I like Brandon. For only $3 a month, you can help a Viking drink.
Oh my gosh, Sally Struthers and Sarah McLachlan in the background, or Nicholas looking sad and into the distance. Farrell, if you're here, I need that in my life.
Yeah,
Let's
we need
see
that
here.
commercial.
Alissa Turney. Alissa Turney. I pressed live. The only one who's live now is me.
Oh.
On YouTube. Everybody else is waiting. And I don't have the Arizona court. It's Macarena court. And I'm here in Sweden. I don't get access to it. They block out of US access, so I can't get that link. I don't know that Sal got the link, and then we could, and he had to post it.
Let's go. Brandon just gifted 5 memberships. So yeah. Janet AKM, Jackie, I'm going to say Rouge, Kathy Tout, Holly Monster, and Renee Collins.
Hey. Yeah,
I love when you're reading screen names and you're like, Hooked on Phonics did not work for me. I'm going to butcher this.
Yeah.
Well, everyone has weird names on YouTube. That's what I've come to learn.
Yeah. And if let's just say, I know I have a link set up for the afternoon stream in 3 hours for the afternoon. But if they don't start within 30 minutes, then I hate to do it, but then I will just redirect to that stream and wait until there's an actual stream from the trial coming up, because I can't waste everybody's time. Now, I love there's more than usual here, so like, subscribe, do everything necessary, but I can't just waste everybody's
Recovery
time.
Addict is live, but what we're talking about is a court feed. Recovery Addict doesn't have a court feed either. Nobody has a court feed going.
David, I'm afraid you're going to have to butt dial the court and ask the clerk, say, I'm with Helm Media Group and we need, and I'm also a barred attorney.
You're not white woman trashed right now, so you.
Oh, it might be.
If you can get home, drink a lot of white wine, and then you can call the court.
What are you picking on my white wine for?
I know they're all upset about my boxed wine.
Yeah, and
there's nothing wrong with white sparkling wine.
Yeah, David was with a really nice crystal glass, pouring prosecco and doing.
Of all the nights for my internet to go down.
Yeah.
It was Friday. I had a long day. It was all that was available at the moment.
Sal has their number. Yeah. Sal, if you can call the court and ask when do you plan to start?
Call the judge's clerk and say, hey, we're covering this case, part of the media, and we just want to know if there's an ETA on when the court's going to go live with anything. Are they not going until this afternoon, or what's up?
Mm.
They'll tell you.
Yeah. Let's see. I'm searching for on Michael Turney. Yeah, it's me and
When they're done
recovery
that,
addict.
it's past 10:30 even right now, local time for the court. So
Yeah. So
they're late.
if it might be that they have this motion hearing and it's taking a lot of time, and they might not want to stream that for some odd reason. I would love to hear that, but maybe the court decided no, only actual trial, not the motions.
Well, my clients are texting me from the courtroom, so I need to go. But
Yep.
I'll check back in with you guys after. See you guys.
Yeah. See you. Thank you, David, for showing up. Go and subscribe to David. Yeah. And yeah. But Sal, if you can, call the judge's clerk and ask if they have an ETA for when the actual trial starts. So we don't waste everybody's time here. As I said, if it's not on before in 25 minutes, I will close down, redirect you to afternoons, and then
Yeah.
I will have the feed on in the background. And as soon as I hear it, I will change the time. I will wait 15 minutes so everybody gets their notification. And then I'll start again, if you're all okay with that.
Sounds good.
Yeah. Now, Mo, what have you
Yes.
been doing besides that's a chunky cat?
Oh, all of my cats believe that they are hobbits and they should be fed first, second, and third breakfast along with like afternoon tea.
Mm.
Not to mention the kids leave enough food down to feed them all. No, I got let's see, I got the murder board. I need to get the camera.
Yeah.
Yep. So and it's pretty big. Let me see when I have the Zoom camera. It'll be awesome.
No, it's not 1:30 there because it's Arizona time. They are being arses about their time zones. They have 2 different time zones in Arizona, and so it's right now 10:30. Oh, Flux has been a member for 2 months and just says, "Don't end it. Just keep talking to us." Oh, yeah, I know. I do.
They're never gonna start, I feel like.
Mm.
I'll see what can.
I will see what I can find. Dun dun dun. News. Watch live. Anything? Anything? No. News on court TV. Trending. Let's see if they have something interesting. Yeah, we can watch Stumpy do his opening statement.
Oh, that would be I mean that would be enlightening. We'll try not to stare.
This is partial coverage. That came out wrong. Yeah.
Now, you'll learn that Mr. Turney, Michael, he picked up Alissa from school that day. They grabbed lunch and they went home to talk about the rules for the summer. He had some rules for her because she'd be kind of getting in trouble, doing some stuff that she shouldn't have done. So he had some rules for her that she was going to have to obey for the summer. She didn't like those rules. You're going to learn, you're going to hear from family members that Alissa was a free spirit. She liked to have fun. She liked to party. She would drink. She would occasionally use drugs. She would smoke marijuana. Some people say she would even smoke it daily. She would smoke it on the way to school. Now, These rules were set because of that. She wasn't happy. She did not want to live under these rules. She believed that she was 17. She could do what she wanted. And Mr. Turney said, my house, my rules. And so she stormed off into her bedroom after the argument. And that was the last time that Michael Turney ever saw
Thank
his
you,
daughter,
translating
Alissa.
legalese. Thank you so much.
Now, you will hear that he went and picked up Sarah from her friend's house. There is some confusion on when that was. Some people will testify that maybe that was 4:30. There's some phone records that might suggest that some of these calls happen between 5:30 and 6 o'clock, but it's between that time. They get back to the house.
I'm a terrible person.
She's not there.
It's the
Starts to panic.
gesturing.
You can hear evidence that Michael called her boyfriend. He called her friends. He called family. He went to her work. He went to places where he might be able to find her. He called her cell phone. That's when they found the cell phone. Either Michael or Sarah found that cell phone in her room somewhere. When they called it, they could hear it vibrating. That's how they knew that she didn't have her phone. He even called PPD, Phoenix Police Department. He called. He was imploring them to come take a report. He was talking to an aide. And it wasn't for a couple days that a Detective Schoenfelder finally made contact with the Turney family. Again, that first night, Michael was up calling people, calling friends, calling family. That happened the next day. He was doing the same thing. He was driving around. You're going to hear from Sarah. You're going to hear from Miss Masterson and other family members about the things that he did to try to find Alissa in those first few days. Now, as the trial progresses, you're going to hear from different witnesses.
This is what they are showing right now. Dark, empty courtroom with a janitor moving around. Or the defense attorney. I don't know. So we'll keep listening to this guy. Oh, sorry.
This is what you're going to learn.
And I will have this.
You're going to learn that
the
Mike
court
has
feed in the
3
background.
sons from his first marriage, Cheryl, and that would be Rat Turney, James Turney, and Michael Seth Turney. Those are their brothers. They have the same mom and same dad. Then there's Alissa Turney and John Turney. They are his adopted kids. He married Barbara, the kid's mother, when they got married when Sarah was 3, I believe, and Alissa was 7 or 8. John was a few years older. The 3 women through Barbara, or the 3 kids through Barbara, all have different dads. And then Sarah is a child of both Michael and Barbara. So the 3 Barbara's kids all share the same mom, but different dads. Mike being one
So
of them.
Sarah's the one that's accusing him, correct?
That's
And that's his only biological
You
daughter.
will learn that,
Yeah.
you know, in 2001, all the boys were out of the house. The only ones there were Mike, Sarah, and Alissa. Alissa was 17, Sarah was 12 or 13, and that they lived in the home on 34th Street, right off of Bell. In May 2001, Alissa was finishing 11th grade. She had a job. She had friends. She had a boyfriend. She wanted to live her own life. She thought she was old enough and could do what she wanted. The rules didn't apply to her. She wanted to do whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted. She would lie about working late. She would lie about doing different things. She wasn't completely out of control, but her behavior was concerning for a father. She was described as a free spirit, someone who was a little rebellious, someone who liked to party and took chances and always didn't make the best decisions. Now, no one had heard from Sarah from May 17th to May 24th. And you heard the prosecutor talk about there's this phone call. There was this phone call that happened early in the morning on May 24th.
Yeah, we will be watching because if I turn it off, my sound is weird.
Someone needs to explain golf to me. I don't understand the wanting to just walk
And you
around
will
and
learn
chase a small
about
ball
this
for
recording system.
hours.
Sorry, what did you say?
I said someone needs to explain golf to me because I can't.
Golf.
I don't understand it.
It's a glorious way to ruin a walk.
That's what I was like. In 4 hours, I mean, I can understand drunk golf carting. If you made that a sport, I would. Drunk golf course cart.
Me and my friends, when I
Demolition
lived in
derby.
Gothenburg, we used to go to the miniature golf course and play beer golf. Every putt, you had a shot of beer. And we never got through all 18 holes.
I can't
Because
imagine
it
why.
didn't get easier to get a hole in one. We got thrown out a couple of times, but we had fun. Yeah.
That sounds awesome. I would totally do drunk.
Yeah. And
No, I said I don't like golf. I don't chase balls. I have some at home. I'm married.
but yeah. Another thing where I grew up, it was like 7 houses in a mile radius, about something about that. And we were a few kids, and we were quite bored, so we invented the game soap rugby. So we rolled out a huge tarp, put soap on it, a tennis ball in the middle, and whoever team got the tennis ball to the other side won. And there was blood and broken stuff, but we had fun. So don't tell most boys this game.
No, please don't. They already act like they're auditioning for Jackass.
Yeah, yes.
It
the
sounds fun,
courtroom
but I
is-
can just.
The courtroom is darkened, and it's 10:45. I highly doubt we will have anything until after lunch, but we'll
that
listen
is
to
in the
this
house.
guy.
You will learn that this was an older system. It was attached to the phone. The main line went into this box. The other line went to the handset. And if it was set to record, you actually had to set it to record, and then it would pick up the recording, and it would record these calls until that tape ran out. And you'll hear from Detective Anderson and Detective Summershoe, who went through a lot of these tapes, that a lot of these calls just ended abruptly. They were being recorded and then they stopped, because the technology isn't the same as today, where you could just have it recording forever on a digital space. That was the same thing with the video. The video recorder will be this system that had 2 cameras set up. One was in the carport looking out towards the front door, or the door that they use is the front door, the carport door, and out onto the main street. The other one had a view from the vent out through, and you could catch the Arcadia door coming in and the couch where you saw in that video. And you will learn the same thing, and you'll hear Sarah talk about it, that this system was always playing. You could see the recordings. You could go into the room and look at the monitor and see what the video camera was showing, but it always didn't record. It wasn't recording 24 hours a day, because it required these 8-hour VHS tapes. And so you would have to set it. You would have to actually set the recording for that to work. So it always didn't capture every single thing that happened 24 hours a day. Now, you will learn that when that call came in, Michael immediately recognized that voice as Alyssa's. The call was very brief. Michael, maybe thinking that she was around, he got up, went outside. He was driving around looking at different payphones, different things in the area that maybe she called from. You will learn that he used to be a police officer in the 70s, worked for Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. Some of his training was that when this happened, maybe people are close in proximity when they make a call like this. So that's why he thought maybe she was around, and that's why he took off and went out. You will learn that he immediately told Sarah and her friend Shay about this call. Shay, a friend of Alyssa's, was staying with them because Michael was, you'll hear he was going around doing a lot of things, and Sarah was 12 years old. So Shay was in and out of the house helping watch and stay with him while he was looking for Alissa. You will learn that he did everything in his power to try to get that call from Quest. He called them. He was on the phone with customer service. He did everything to get that call, and they told him he could not do it without a subpoena. So he contacted Phoenix Police Department, asked them to intervene. They were not willing or weren't able to help. He then spoke with the sergeant. He then spoke with someone else. Nobody would help him get this call. So he didn't let it lie. You're going to learn that what he did was he then used some of his own money. He sued Quest to try to get this number. He filed a lawsuit, got the number. You'll learn it took about 6 weeks. He got this, someone at the end of June, beginning of July, he got this phone number. It had a California number on it. And you'll learn that he kept calling that number and someone finally answered. He was able to find out where that location was. And he went out to that location on several locations. He went out to California to look for her.
So, for you in the chat and Mo, if you haven't heard this, what are your immediate reactions?
You know, he's got some bad facts. He's got some bad facts with, you know, the kind of paranoia, the recording, all of the recording things. He's putting those bad facts out in a way that doesn't look like super de-duper suspect. Now, I mean, and he's also doing it in a way that doesn't degrade the victim too. He's like, look, she's wild. He could have said, look, she was out of control. She was drinking, she was smoking pot, she was doing all the things. So to me, I mean, I don't know what he's walking a thin line to me that I think would be hard, but he's doing a pretty good job with it.
Yeah. And what I just showed you that's what the courtroom looks like right now, completely closed down. So I highly doubt we will see anything until after lunch. But let's keep going.
On several different occasions. You will learn that as this case progressed, Michael was the only one that was pushing this case when it started in 2001, 2002, 2003, 2004, 2005, 2006. He was pressuring PPD. He was calling sergeants. He was writing letters to chief of police. He called the FBI. He called his congressman. He was calling all sorts of people to try to get attention to this case, and no one would investigate it. He was putting in his time and his money searching for Alissa. He even contacted the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children. This is a group that PPD sometimes they recommend to families because they are a national organization that can get the word out a little bit better. So you will hear that he contacted them over the years and tried to get her name out there, trying to put information into this. He even helped work with them to get a picture of Alyssa's face on a NASCAR hood. That was something that they were doing back then. They would put these missing children on the top of one of the racers' car to get exposure. And he got Alyssa's picture on the top of one of the race cars in a race. He was doing all of this and nobody would help him. You will hear that Detective Schoenfelder was assigned the case a few days after, and he essentially treated this as a runaway. Didn't want to listen. He didn't want to take any information. He would get information. There's not a lot of reports. Detective Schoenfelder did not keep a lot of records of his interactions with anyone at that time, but he did keep some of the documents that he got from Mr. Turney over the year or so that he was investigating, but he never followed up on any of them. Then fast forward to about 2003 to 2004, Detective Murphy became assigned the case. Same thing. You will hear that he went at great lengths to communicate with her, try to get her to do investigation. He was giving her information, The state talked about these burned up bodies and other things to get dental and DNA. That was Mr. Turney that was getting that information to Phoenix Police Department. He was working with them to try to get the case going. You'll see that up until about 2008, 2009, he was one of the only ones champion for Alissa and was trying to get this case out, calling the FBI, calling these people, trying to get them to investigate, and no one would investigate. Then fast forward to 2008, 2009, when Detective Anderson and Detective Summershoe were assigned. They started doing interviews, and they got tunnel vision. They were locked into one person and one person only, and that was Mr. Turney. And for over a decade, they extensively and exclusively overlooked evidence and just looked at him, ignoring all the things that he did, ignoring all the stuff, because they had their belief on what happened.
Okay.
This is an item that was a copy of an item found
Now
during
we
the
see
search
when
warrant,
it
so I would
actually
have one of
started.
the detectives actually identify where it came from.
So you waiving his presence for purposes on the record.
Okay.
This is
Play it in 1.25 until we get. Okay, so we are going.
State of Arizona versus
Oh,
Michael Turney.
cool.
Let the record show the presence of counsel. The defendant's not present. The jury's not present. Mr. Jackson, you waiving his presence for purposes of addressing a pretrial issue?
Yes, this limited issue, Your Honor.
Okay. Let's see. I also, just before I forget, one of the jurors had informed my staff that she's having trouble hearing counsel when they're not at a microphone, and has asked that everybody please be at a microphone when they're speaking. So I just am passing that along. Go ahead.
Your Honor, and I don't believe anything was done intentionally, but witnesses and people in the gallery were talking in the hall. I was over by the water fountain. I could hear them. I could hear the discussions. The jury was just around the corner by the bathroom. I would like to find out if the jury heard anything and just kind of warn people that when they're on this floor, when they're that, to not talk about anything that they've overheard or seen or stuff like that, something that the jury may hear that they're not supposed to.
Okay. All right. I'll ask the jury that when they come in.
And then the
Not
other
yet.
issue is the
Not yet.
state gave us a clip, about 5 or 6 minutes of a conversation. The whole conversation is between Lynette and Alissa, and then the next hour and some after is between Lynette and Mr. Turney. The state is seeking to play about a 5-minute portion of that tape between Alissa and Lynette. We're objecting that it's hearsay, and I don't believe it has any purpose for anything else. There is some inflammatory comments on that may be racially charged, and I don't believe it's appropriate for the jury.
Who from the state is going to handle this one? Mr. Imbordino, were you planning on doing that with this next witness?
Well, yeah, I informed counsel that what I intended to do with this witness. Have you listened to Exhibit 91? Do you recognize the voices? Whose voices do you hear? This is an item that was a
Where's
copy of an item
Sarah?
found during the search warrant. So I would have
They
one of the
weren't done with
detectives
Sarah.
actually
What's going
identify
on?
where it came from.
So you're not going to move for admission or move to publish with this witness?
Not today.
Okay. And then were you going to move to admit or publish it with another witness?
Yes.
Okay. So which witness is that going to be?
It would be either Detective Anderson or Detective Summershoe,
And when will they be testifying?
Wednesday and or Thursday.
Okay. So prior to either of those witnesses being called, I'll be happy to take this up. Mr. Jackson, do you want me to review the exhibit before you argue it to me? Okay. And are there time stamps that you want me to pay attention to? Let's get you before microphone.
He just told him about the microphone. He already.
The whole thing is 5 minutes and 50 seconds.
Okay.
Well, jury
The
is
derogatory comments are at the beginning. I think Lynette is talking to Alissa about why her dad called. She's saying that he's mad that I'm hanging out with this 19-year-old boy. And Lynette says, what is he, black? And so that's
Okay. All right. And the exhibit number is
91.
exhibit 91. So I will review exhibit
there it
91
is.
prior
Now-
to Wednesday, and then we can
Dun,
take up
dun,
this issue once I've
dun.
done that. Anything else that we can take up before the jury comes in?
Well, I do believe there were some issues that the state wanted to bring up with this witness about a previous ruling, but I cannot do that without Mr. Turney. And then there's some other things that were on a list of things that they wanted to play that we're going to object to, but I wanted to bring that up with Mr. Turney being present.
Okay. So we'll wait until he gets there.
Oh, this is going to be bad.
He said 5 more minutes, Judge.
Okay.
Yeah, we cannot be trusted with this trial. Not at all.
Okay, so they are waiting for Mr. Turney to arrive so they can argue some kind of motion, which I believe is the motion to bring forward the allegations of SA. Oh, frick.
Oh, for the love of all that is holy.
I mean, now it's 11.
I'm telling
I
you,
don't-
these.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if it takes him 15 minutes to get there. It's 11:15. And then they get Sarah back on the stand to say, what, 3 words, and then it's lunch.
Jamie, they're trying to. These southern courts are trying to kill me.
It's Oops.
You're
Oops.
fine.
Yep. No, let's yeah.
No, we do not know what happened to his arms or arm, John Gary, and I told Salvador not to ask. So
No.
There we go.
Probably. And as far as I know, the allegations may or may not be because he wrote a contract with Alissa. No, I do not. But this was early 2000s. I'm not sure what was going on in the US in 2000, 2001. If it were a lot of SA allegations moving around in US that daughters were accusing fathers or stuff like that. I don't know. So he might have just been paranoid and tried to be on the safe side. I'm playing devil's advocate here.
yeah. I mean, I will say
Okay,
that the
so as
defense
soon as your
attorney
client
did.
gets here, we can bring the jury in.
Yeah.
Great.
One minute, kind of tell them what we did, and then.
I thought they were going to
Great.
do a motion. Don't they generally leave the?
Well, I do need to ask the court to reconsider it.
Do you want to do that before we bring the jury in? Okay.
And Lawrence Seaward, where's the boom? There. Tractor covering the LNC logo. And for you who are completely new here, yes, that is my tractor. And yes, the license plate says FCK. Yes, I'm 12 years old in my humor. Because that is funny. Contract is very strong evidence of SA. Only a rapist would make his stepdaughter sign that. Or he's paranoid. Paranoid OCD. Leave no stones unturned. Nobody is going to make allegations to me, so I'm making a contract. We don't know how this man's brain works. And maybe we will find out. I don't know. But I agree, it's extremely strange.
We're back on the record in State versus Turney. Let the record show the presence of counsel and the defendant. Mr. Imbordino.
Yeah, Judge, like a lot of things, I should have done this at the moment. There was an objection to a question I asked this witness, attempting to have her describe in more detail the importance of the relationship between her and Alissa and the things that Alissa did for her. I don't remember now what the objection was. You sustained it. What I'm asking to do is to allow me to go into that more, most particularly because one of the exhibits today is the original note that was found in the bedroom. And in attempting to have Ms. Turney describe why the words in this note don't fit the time, don't fit their relationship as it appears at the time, it's important for me to do that.
I have even boost.
Like I say,
The
I
volume.
apologize for not.
Here's the actual volume.
approach at the
Here's
time.
me boosting the volume.
Well, Mr.
So,
Bordino, at the time the question was asked, I believe the objection was to relevance, and the court sustained it. I'm affirming that ruling because at the time I didn't feel that there was any additional relevance. If once the exhibit is admitted, you believe that there are now relevant questions in regard to their relationship, you can certainly ask those questions. If there is an objection, I'll consider it in the light of the evidence that exists at the time you're attempting to elicit that.
All right.
So anything else before we bring the jury in?
Not from, not from the state.
All right, Angela, you can bring the jury in.
Okay. And I lowered my audio. Sometimes that makes StreamYard do better audio on the stream. So maybe that will help. Kristelin Borges says, we don't know much about his mental state, but we can see his paranoia in the evidence. That causes people to do weird crap. Yeah. This is a weird case. And I kind of agree with David. If they thought it was nothing to it 23 years ago, 20 years ago, 10 years ago, why now?
Yeah, it
If
just seems
anything, it's less evidence today because of faulty memories and stuff like that.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah, that might very well be so, but that might be excluded. We don't know until the evidence is actually in filing in court. And on the stand is
Please be seated.
Sarah Turney.
We are back on the record in State versus Turney. Let the record show the presence of counsel, the defendant, and the jury. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. It's great to see you back. Thank you so much for making it back. Let me first apologize. I have made you wait for over a half hour, and that is something that I hate to do. The truth is my morning was jam-packed, and I had to run late in order to accommodate all kinds of other things. So I absolutely apologize. And please know I will do my best every day to get us started as quickly to our scheduled start time as I can. Second thing is somebody had indicated to my staff they were having trouble hearing counsel when counsel were not at the microphone. I've let counsel know to please stay near a microphone. If there is anything that happens that you all cannot hear or see, please make a scene. We'll make sure that you're hearing and seeing everything that you need to hear and see. So please don't hesitate just to wave down me or counsel if that happens. Third thing is there are a lot of people out in the hallways, and you all are out in the hallways also for a time. I don't know what people are talking about in the hallways. I just want to make sure that nobody violates the admonition and that you all are not exposed to people talking about the case. Did anybody hear anything about the case outside the courtroom? All right, thank you. Let the record reflect that Sarah Turney is back on the witness stand. Ms. Turney, I'll remind you that you are still under oath. And Mr. Imbordino, you may resume your direct examination of the witness whenever you're ready.
Thank you. Your Honor, at this time, we would move for the admission of exhibits 81, 82, 83, 84, and 85.
Any objection from the defense?
No, Your Honor, we discussed before as a stipulation.
Let's put that microphone near you.
We agreed to stipulate to those exhibits.
All right. By stipulation, exhibits 81, 82, 83, 84, and 85 are admitted. Angela, can we go full screen on the Elmo, please? There we go.
Sarah, I have a few questions for you on some photographs. First of all, exhibit 85. If you can tell the jurors, well, first of all, do you recognize the people in this photograph?
Yes.
And can you tell us who each of them are, please?
Yes. To the left is our brother John, then Alissa, then me, then our brother Mike.
And do you have any, you able to give us any estimate of when this photograph would have been taken?
Yeah, this was February 2001, just a few months before Alissa was gone.
Were you, I know
Yes.
you've told us
podcast
and
sister.
described the younger sister, older sister relationship, but were you familiar with some of her friends?
Yes.
What are the names of some of the friends that you knew that Alissa had?
Katie, Stacy, Charity, Jessica. There were a lot of kids we grew up in the neighborhood with. Shay was one of them. Yeah, she had a lot of friends.
Showing you exhibit 83. Who are we looking at here?
That's Katie on the left in the black, Alissa in the middle, and then Stacy with the blonde hair on the right.
And can you give us an approximate time frame when this would have been taken?
Well, unfortunately, Stacy passed, so about 2 years before Alissa was gone.
They had to show the picture with a dead person in it.
That would be the friend who ended herself.
Of course.
That I'm not sure why the defense agreed to the stipulation. Maybe because they are trying to argue in that line regarding Alissa.
Yeah, I don't like that. I
No.
really don't.
I agree.
And exhibit 84.
That's me and Alissa.
I moved
Yeah.
up.
James cut off.
James over here that you can't quite see him. Correct?
Yes.
I moved up 1.2.
What will be the time frame for this?
so we can catch up?
Judging off my hair, to be honest, about a year before Alissa was gone, maybe less.
One sister and one friend.
Exhibit 81. Who
That's-
are we looking at here?
That's Alyssa's boyfriend John on the left and Alissa on the right.
And what was the occasion?
Her junior prom.
So the spring of 2001.
Yes.
You recognize the necklace around her neck?
Yes.
Do you know how she received that necklace?
It was a gift from John, her boyfriend.
Exhibit 82 is, I presume, a close-up of Alissa. Do you know if this is on the same occasion?
I believe so. Yes.
I'm big boomering today. Quick bits to borrow from Emily. This is Sarah Turney, the sister of the missing Alissa Turney. Alissa disappeared 23 years ago. And now, 23 years later, her stepfather, Michael Turney, is on trial for her murder. There is no body. There is no crime scene, no DNA, no blood. Just Alissa disappeared. She left behind her cell phone and the necklace they've just been talking about. We still haven't heard. This is the second witness, and we haven't, in my opinion, we haven't really heard anything that points to Alissa actually being dead. That would be later on, I guess. And yeah, it's rough because, as David said earlier, they don't have anything more today than they had 23 years ago. But 23 years ago, the cops decided she was a runaway and did jack shit for 7 years.
Yeah, that's my big issue.
Yeah. The stepfather called the cops the evening of her disappearance and more or less begged them to come help. And they didn't bother to. They received the phone calls. They said, sure. And then it took them a week to get there. So here we are.
Prior to your testimony here this morning, did I play for you a recording of a conversation, which is Exhibit 91?
Yes.
And did you recognize the voices on this recording?
Yes.
And who were they?
My Aunt Lynette and Alissa.
All right, I want to take you back to, quite frankly, I can't recall where we left off, but
Well,
You just asked her a question. Yeah, the prosecutor is 75 years
812.
old. Yeah, he's 112 years old. He got his bar exam done in Transylvania. I don't know. He's been a lawyer since 1975 and a prosecutor for the last 30 years.
The
And,
Magna Carta wasn't even penned when this man started law. He was going on
He's-
Hammurabi or something.
Yeah.
For the love.
He's pre-Civil War.
I think we were still talking about the day that she went missing. I just want to, do I have it correct? Your answer was that when you got up and went to school that morning, Alissa was already gone.
Yes.
So would you have had any way to know what she was wearing?
No.
I believe I remember you telling us that when your father came to pick you up at your friend's house after your day at the water park, he asked you to try calling Alissa.
Yes.
When you got home, I believe you told us that you found her cell phone, correct?
Yes.
And tell me again where it was located.
on her dresser right next to the note.
Was it on or off? The phone.
I believe it was on.
Um, do you remember hearing it like buzzing or anything?
No.
You know, like there was a message waiting or somebody trying to call?
No, not on the dresser. I just saw it right there when I walked in.
All right. And at some point you got possession of that cell phone, correct?
Yes.
That's interesting because we just heard from the defense opening statement that they heard the phone vibrating. Here she says she didn't hear anything. On cross, if the defense have evidence that she said differently back in 2001 or over the years. Yeah, but we'll see.
And using it. Tell me again when.
Shortly after she was gone, maybe within a few weeks or days.
Did that cell phone have the ability for someone to leave a voice message?
Yes.
And did you need a password to get into the voice
He
messages?
was busy
I can't
shouting at
recall
clouds.
if you did, we had it because I changed the outgoing voicemail shortly after.
Did you listen to any voice messages that were already on the phone? Do
Yes.
you have any
2001.
recollection of any specific
It's
ones?
23 years
No,
ago,
it
not
was just
33
friends
years
checking in
ago.
and seeing where she was at, as far as I can remember.
We move the admission of exhibit number 1.
Objection. Exhibit number 1 is admitted.
All right, Sarah, it's, if I need to take it out of this envelope, you just let me know. But you recognize this document?
Yes.
And what is it, please?
That's the note that was on her dresser.
The note that you found
Yes.
next to the cell phone.
Yes.
All right, so I think when we were here Thursday, I asked you if there was any, or I was about to ask you if there was anything about what is in this note that, at least in your opinion, didn't fit with the time.
Or I would object to living freak
And
out.
I
of that.
remember, correct me if I'm wrong. So let's just talk about,
First of all, it's 23 years ago. Second of all, she's biased. Third of all, she's not a handwriting expert. And fourth, handwriting is shit science. Yeah.
Okay, here's a real question. Can I sue Forensic Files for lying to me for years? Asking for a friend. Who's me?
You can sue everybody for anything as long as you can pay for it. And there's no guarantee
Dang
of
it.
the outcome.
I need to craft a
first
perfect like nuisance.
fine, when you
money
dropped me off
suit.
at school today, did you drop her off at school?
No.
I mean, she was gone when you got up, right?
Correct.
And this is addressed.
Yeah, but it said, Dear Dad plus Sarah. So you can be referring to Dad. Only Dad, not both of them. So, yeah.
To Dad and Sarah, correct?
Yes.
Sarah, you said you didn't want me around. Look, you got it. I'm not asking you your opinion of what your sister was thinking or meant. What I'm asking you is, based upon the nature of your relationship with your sister at the time, does that make sense to you?
No, there was no big fight or anything before she was gone.
In their opening statement, they said openly, there's no crime scene, there's no body, there's no murder weapon. So it was a very weak opening statement from the prosecution, in my opinion. Thank you so much, Let's Grow Bandon, for your $5 super chat. Hit the like button or Niklas is shutting the stream down. No, this is still direct. So they are still on direct from Thursday. So I don't know how long they will go on with this. Let's go on.
I mean, did you want her out of your life forever?
No,
Why not?
because she took care of me.
Go back to her testimony on Thursday when she said she has learned to appreciate her now in hindsight. I'm not liking this at all.
Now, Look, y'all, I want the man to be guilty because he looks about as crazy as,
Yeah.
a family reunion that my family would have. But I
I'm not.
also, yeah, no, I don't want to co-sign to feelings court.
No. I'm going back a few seconds.
Life forever?
No,
Why not?
because she took care of me.
How did she take care of you?
She made sure that when I had lice, it was gone, and she got me dressed in the morning when she was there, and picked out my clothes, and taught me how to do makeup, and did my nails, and cooked dinner, and cleaned my room.
And I feel like chat has all this information that we
What's,
don't have yet or may not
Yeah.
be admissible. So,
Yeah.
I can't remember if I asked you this.
We're 2 hours past.
Assume that the defendant, your dad, called the police, made a report that she was gone. Were you a party to that conversation?
No,
When you got home from, when you got to the house that day and you found the phone, what did you do the rest of that day?
I just went on about my day. I thought she'd be back.
Went to sleep that night?
Yeah.
Got up the next day?
Yeah.
Now, at that point, school was over for the year, correct?
Yes.
So that summer, what kinds of things, I'm going to ask you some of the kinds of things that you did that summer. Before I do that, we've had some testimony about a phone call that came in that might have been Alissa calling. Did you overhear that phone call?
No,
When did you first become aware of it?
I don't remember.
So let me ask you this, and maybe you've already answered that. At some point, you became aware that your father was saying that Alissa had called from California, correct?
Yes.
Who told you that?
I can't remember. I would assume my father.
But you just don't know.
No, I don't know.
And you don't know when, if he did tell you, you don't know when he told you.
No.
I'm having this at 1.25.
That summer, did you ever make a trip with your father to California?
Yes.
And how many times?
At least once. That's what I remember.
Where did you go?
We went to the mall and to the beach.
And did he tell you the purpose of the trip?
Yeah, he said that he wanted to look for Alissa.
So once you got to well, did you go visit your Aunt Lynette?
No.
So you went to the beach. What beach?
I couldn't tell you.
All right. What did you do at the beach?
We just went to the beach.
Did you go swimming?
I would assume playing on the sand. I mean, it was just a regular beach trip like we'd done before.
And you said a mall?
Yes.
Do you know which mall?
No.
In what city?
No.
And what did you do at the mall?
At the mall, we did hand out flyers for a few minutes.
Okay. Go anywhere else?
No.
Is that the only time that you went with him and he said, we're going to go to California to look for Alissa?
Yeah, I believe so. That's the only memory I have.
Now, in the years, I want to go through the years from May of 2001 until a broadcast, a primetime broadcast. So when's the first time you remember that you actually had contact with a police officer or a detective concerning Alissa?
It was when they took DNA from me and my brother John.
And do you know when that was?
I believe maybe 2004 to 2006, somewhere in there.
All righty.
Many years after she was gone.
And where did that take place? Where did they actually take the DNA sample?
At some official building, I would assume the police department.
Was it in downtown Phoenix?
Yes.
At some point, were you asked to give like a handwriting sample?
Yes.
And you recall when that was?
No, perhaps around the same time.
Your Honor, and I forgot to mention that Detective Anderson is our current case agent. He will be here from time to time.
Can we have
we
a
know.
prosecutor whose grandkids aren't
Do you
retired?
recognize Detective Anderson?
Yes.
Can you tell us, not the circumstances, but the approximate time that you first met him?
I think 2007.
At some point, did you set up a meeting at your house with Detective Anderson and Detective Summershoe?
Yes.
And when would that have been?
Shortly after I became the family contact for Alyssa's case. So
Yeah, so let me ask you about that. When you became the contact person, what do you mean?
I was about 17 at a certain point. My dad said he couldn't handle it anymore, so he asked me to be the official person who kept in contact with the Phoenix Police Department regarding the case.
All right. And so this meeting that you set up then was sometime after that.
You
Yes.
would never make your
And
17-year-old
where was it to take place?
deal with
Our
this.
home.
And what was,
No, that sounds weird.
Yeah, I don't care how hard it was on me. I'm not going to make my child do it.
Mm. I believe the most difficult time she's having is she can testify about things that is not allowed in court. That would be the difficulty. This will be an interesting cross-examination once it starts.
your understanding of the purpose?
They wanted to get what we had left of Alyssa's stuff.
Now, I'm going to jump back a little bit. So I think you told us on Thursday that you moved across the street sometime within the following year after May of 2001, correct?
Correct.
And so the meeting that you agreed to or set up was going to take place at the home across the street from where Alissa had lived. Do I have that right?
Yes.
And after Alissa went missing, you already told us that you moved into the master bedroom, but were there things of Alyssa's that you wanted to keep?
Yes, everything.
Like what kinds of things did you want to keep?
Her furniture, her clothing, her makeup, her jewelry. I wanted everything
Okay, why?
because it was her. It was what was left of her.
Did you communicate that desire to your father?
Yes, I did.
So when the detectives came to the house across the street to look at Alyssa's things, what was left?
Almost nothing.
Well, when you say almost nothing, like, what do you mean?
There were stuffed animals and a few pieces of her clothing. I kept some of the jewelry, obviously. I think there was a notebook that she had doodled in a few drawings, but it was like one tote box of things.
Did you know that the other things that you wanted to keep were now gone?
No, I told the police that there was lots of stuff because I thought there was.
Now, were you interviewed by ABC for the production of a primetime nationwide broadcast?
Yes.
I almost forgot. There's been mention of, were you aware that see if I have this right, a NASCAR car hood at some point as part of the missing persons network, that Alyssa's picture was on the hood?
Yes, I went to the race.
Okay. Did you get the hood?
Yeah.
And like as a keepsake or memento or something?
Yeah, I asked to keep it.
And did you keep it?
It was gone at one point.
But at some point, was it at home?
Yes.
Was it there when the police came that day to look at Alyssa's things?
No, I don't believe so.
Well, when you say you don't believe so, I mean, if you don't know, just say I don't know.
I'm just going to. Here's the thing that we learned from the Thursday's direct examination. Now, this might be my interpretation, but when she said that she realized later on that she didn't appreciate her sister as much as she should have been doing, my interpretation is, and I saw this on Thursday's chat, that Sarah was the golden child and Alissa was the stepchild. And that is why her testimony, it doesn't sit right with me. It just doesn't. I want this guy to be guilty. I want it to be evidence of his guilt. I'm having a hard time with their star witness testimony.
I'm having a hard time with his delivery. I don't know why he won't let the younger guy do it. He seems scattered, and it is hard enough for me to stay on a particular line of thought. So when he's like, oh wait, but 5 minutes ago I meant to ask you this thing, but I didn't. So
and I've been reading you all in the chat. The things that you say is things that might not be admissible. It might be evidence on the contrary, because what you have heard up until now is her podcast and news articles. You have to remember that. That might not be admissible, and it might even be on cross that they can disprove things. So we have to keep an open mind. But both me and Mo, we really want this guy to be guilty. We want closure. We want, preferably, the guy just stands out of his wheelchair and says, all right, I did it. But this is a trial. We have to listen to the evidence presented.
Yeah, I can't tell you. It was in the garage one day, and then one day it wasn't. I'm not sure of the date.
All right. So were you interviewed as part of the primetime background information?
Yes.
And was that show broadcast nationwide on a particular day
Yes.
or year? Do you recall the year?
2009.
Did you watch the broadcast?
Yes.
I need to go back a minute to 2008. Were you present when Phoenix Police Department conducted a search of the house across the street from where Alissa had been living?
No, the police got me down to the station before they did the search.
All right. So you were not actually on the property when they were searching it?
No.
Did you become aware that they had searched the property
Yes.
as well as the house across the street?
Yes.
If, assume for me that the defendant has said to others that he picked Alissa up early from school on May 17th. Were you aware of that?
No.
Did your father tell you that in the days or weeks or months after May 17th?
No.
Can you give me an approximate time of when you found that out?
When they were raiding the house, the police told me.
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear a word that she said. When they were
raiding the house, the police told me.
Thank you.
So since you weren't present at the house, do you mean?
No, that nobody know anything. She went missing, and 23 years later, stepdad is on trial.
You were informed of that when you were at the police station?
Yes, they informed me of many things that day.
All right. When you took possession of Alissa's phone, did you change the number?
No.
How long did you use that phone?
I think perhaps about a year until I ran up the bill really bad. So we switched to Cricket, which is a unlimited plan.
Yeah, that's my chair creaking. After a month of use, this high-end chair is creaking. Thank you again to Let's Go Brandon for super chatting a lot of money a couple of months ago so I could buy it. Yeah, I hope I can fix
Have
it.
you on
somehow.
occasion asked your father what happened to Alissa?
Many times.
Has he ever given you an answer?
He told me he'd tell me on his deathbed.
And when did he make that statement?
I met up with him at a Starbucks in October of 2017 to meet him face to face and finally get some answers.
That would be hearsay. Please have a recording of that. But they
Did you
don't
have
object.
a savings account at a nearby credit union?
Yeah, I believe it was savings and checking.
Did you have
Yeah, Flux.
Did
That's
you have
not
one in
good.
your name at the time that Alissa went missing?
Yes.
Did you have any personal knowledge as to whether Alissa had one as well?
Yes.
And how did you know that?
Because she was excited to get paid from Jack in the Box.
Oh yeah, I got my merch store up and running. I don't know if I have. No, I don't. Let's see if I have. Darn it! I thought I put the link to it somewhere. There. It's one item, and it is my you can't unfuck a clusterfuck mug. Here's the link.
Woohoo!
Now I think I asked you this already. You weren't working at the time, correct?
Correct.
So was there money in your account?
I'm sorry, Mr. Mudina, I'm not sure what time you're referring to.
Sorry. At the time Alissa went missing, you did not have a job, correct?
Correct.
But there was money in your savings account.
Yes.
And where did it come from?
My father.
At some point, was money transferred from Alissa's account to yours?
Yes.
Do you know when that happened?
Shortly after she was gone.
How much money?
I believe it was all of it.
Do you happen to know the amount?
It was close to $1,800, I believe.
Yeah, that's weird. If she is running away, why didn't she go to the bank first, or the day after? She could have just, yeah, I'm taking
Having
out
watched
my money
the
and then
primetime broadcast, were you aware of or did you observe or see the portion of the broadcast where what appeared to be a video recording of Alissa throwing her phone? You hear tires screeching in the background. Do you remember seeing that at all?
Yes, I believe that was part of the program.
Okay. Had you seen it before?
Yes.
And under what circumstances?
My father showed it to me
And do you recall when he showed it to you?
shortly after it happened.
Were you present that day when this happened?
I can't say for sure.
When did he show it to you?
Like I said, shortly after it happened.
In relationship to Alyssa's disappearance, when did he show it to you?
Before she went missing.
Like how long?
Perhaps maybe a month.
Did you also observe the video that showed her on the couch with a young man?
Yes.
Do you know who that was?
Yeah, his name is Mike Stanley. He worked at Jack in the Box with Alissa.
Do you know when that took place?
After the video of the fight with her boyfriend.
Were you there that day?
I can't say for sure. I would assume so.
But you don't know.
No, I can't say for sure.
Have just a moment.
Yeah, that could be, but that is up to the defense to bring forward in cross-examination. Yeah, we will see what the defense has to say about that. Apparently, they met up at Starbucks. She asked him, "When will you tell me what happened to Alissa?" And he answered, "I will tell you on my deathbed," allegedly. I'm still having this at 1.25, and it's taking forever for Mr. Vampire prosecutor.
A little earlier, I had shown you the, I think you said it was the photograph taken when Mr. Lackman and Alissa went to her junior prom. Had you seen them together before
Yes.
at the house?
Yes.
Any other places?
Yeah, we went paintballing together.
Okay. Where did that take place?
Somewhere in the desert. I couldn't tell you.
Had you ever made trips to the desert before with your dad?
Many times.
I'm not asking you what kinds of things you would do necessarily. I'm just trying to figure out if you can tell us, when you say the desert, there are obviously places within the city limits that are open areas of desert. Can you give us some idea of where?
Yeah, it varied. What I remember is driving up the I-17 and pulling off somewhere.
Now, your father owned a truck, correct?
Yes.
And sometime after Alissa went missing, did he acquire a new truck?
Yes.
Was it the same kind of truck?
Yes.
You know how long after she went missing that happened?
A few months, maybe.
I'm just about done. I'm gonna go back to the phone. I know you've told us how you used it, that it was Alissa's. Did you ever communicate with her? Or did you ever call her cell phone?
Oh, sure. Yeah.
Now, you didn't have your own, correct?
Correct.
So you would have had, use a landline
Yes.
to call? Did you ever witness Alissa using her cell phone?
Yes.
I mean, was it common for her to have it in her possession?
Oh, yes.
She's the star witness. She is
That's
the
all the
only
questions I
reason
have at
this
this time.
trial
Thank you,
ever
Mr.
happened.
Mordino. Cross-examination from the defense.
I have to agree. If this, well, there were a few damning things. The deathbed comment, her account was never touched.
According to her, the deathbed
course.
comment happened though.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. If this is as good as it gets, I'm nowhere near a guilty verdict.
yeah.
Yeah, that's the sister of the missing. She is the one who has been podcasting about this case since 2019. Yeah.
Yes, Your Honor, 1 second.
Okay, Lefty. Let's see how this goes.
Good morning. So the last time that you saw Alissa was May 16th, 2001.
Yes.
And when you got up that morning, she had already left for school.
I would assume so. I don't have a memory of it.
But that's typically what happened because she started school at 7:20, correct?
That sounds right.
And then you started about 9:30, I think you said.
Yes.
So there was many mornings that she was already gone before you got up.
Yes.
So back in 2001, Alissa was 17.
Yes.
You were 12.
Yes.
Did you ever speak with the police back in 2001?
No.
No police officer requested to speak to you until 2008, correct?
No, it was, well, like any contact with police or an official interview.
Yeah, to talk to you about what you knew. Nobody had officially came and talked to you about what you knew until 2008, correct?
2008 or 7, yeah, that sounds about right.
You were 19 at the time.
That would be about right, yeah.
About 7 years had passed.
Yes.
And at that point is when you became the family contact for police and victims advocates and stuff like that, correct?
Yes.
And then prior to you, John actually did it for a brief period, correct?
Yes.
But it was too much for him. He didn't want to be the family contact.
I can't remember.
But at some point, it went from your dad to John to you.
My dad to John, back to my dad, then to me.
And then in that time, 2007, 2008, your dad was starting to get sick,
I'm not
stressed about the situation. I think you believe you told Detective Anderson.
Yes, very stressed, absolutely.
You had told Detective Anderson that Alyssa's runaway and disappearance consumed him.
Yes.
Now, I want to ask you a little bit about your relationship with Alissa. You testified on Thursday that you guys had a sibling rivalry,
Yeah, sure.
just little fights.
Nothing I wouldn't look back on and laugh now, yeah.
So for the most part, things were good.
Yeah, I mean, we fought back and forth, but in general, sure.
You guys fought a lot, didn't you? Correct?
Yes.
In fact, you told Detective Anderson in the first interview in September that you guys fought all the time.
Yes.
You guys were mean to each other.
Yes.
She would call you fat.
Yes.
You would call her stupid.
Yes.
She would get violent with you.
I wouldn't call it violence.
So the words you used to Detective Anderson, she would push you up against the wall.
I was under a different mindset, unfortunately, at that time.
So she didn't push you up against the wall.
No, she did. And I pushed her against the wall, certainly.
You guys were jealous of.
Okay. He has to walk over the.
Yeah.
I'm not sure this is the correct tactic. But he is bringing out information she don't want to give out.
Well, here's
Especially
the thing.
regarding the letter where she said, "You got your wish, now I'm gone."
The thing is, he needs to decide if he's going to be zealous for his client, which means he's going to look a bit like an asshole, or if he's going to tread lightly.
Yeah, I have 4 sisters and 1 brother. We were never physical against each other. Maybe that's abnormal, I don't know, but that is how I was brought. I had neighboring kids I fought with instead.
Okay, brothers, I can totally see duking it out because my boys are.
Yeah.
But sisters tend to not.
Half sisters, and one of them is the golden child.
I could see
Yeah.
that being a big issue.
Yeah, but I wouldn't say it's classic. I don't know.
She's for my sibling's heart, my mother's heart. I totally get where she's coming from. She's lost her sister and she's gone back and rose-colored things. That's fine. And that's good for a podcast. I have no doubt that it's compelling for a podcast, but it is not something that you can make a court case on.
Yeah.
Each other.
Yes.
You told Detective Anderson you were jealous of the attention that Alissa got.
Yes.
And Alissa was jealous that you were left alone.
Yes.
But back when you were 12, you were not getting in any trouble, were you?
I certainly was, yes.
You were when you were 12.
Yes.
You were the sensible one. That's what you told Detective Anderson.
Yes, that's what I was told, yeah.
That's what you were told.
By my father, yes.
So you lied to Detective Anderson?
No.
Okay. You said that Alissa was unpredictable.
Oh, that's maybe.
Yeah, I believe that at the time, yes.
You told her she had a temper.
She did, yes.
She made poor choices.
That's what I believed.
That's what you told the detective, correct?
Yes.
She was a partier. That's what
I-
you told the detective, correct?
That's what I told the detective, yes.
She liked to go out.
Yes.
She was smoking marijuana.
Yes.
She would get drunk.
Maybe once or twice, yes.
She was going out when she wasn't supposed to.
Yes.
Alissa never had a driver's license, did she?
No.
But she would drive the vehicle, correct?
Once or twice, maybe. Not
Drove
like-
you to get ice cream, correct? You told Detective Anderson that?
Yes, she did.
So she was doing things that she wasn't supposed to.
That was with our father's permission.
Okay. But the reason she didn't have a driver's license is because she failed a driving test, correct?
No, she was scared.
She should have figured out. It's the same thing with the Theodore Edgecombe trial where the wife's like, no, he said, what the heck? Just say he said, what the F, and move on. But she's fighting everything. And what she doesn't realize is that the state, if they're effective, can come back and say, were you told these things by your father? Yes. Do you really remember all of that at the time? No. So were you
Yeah.
saying things that your father relayed to you? This could all be rehabilitated, and had she maybe not gotten training, but if the lawyers had said, look, he's going to ask you questions, he's going to make you look, like you're hiding things. We can clear this up on redirect.
Yeah, but then they should have prepared better in direct for it.
Yeah.
So she at least admitted already in direct, yes, we fought. Yes, it went physical at one time, but we loved it. I mean, yeah.
My objection, Your Honor, to this last question is no foundation for her knowledge.
She just answered that the reason she
Well,
didn't fail the test.
you can address it on redirect.
Let's see. I missed the objection.
My objection, Your Honor, to this last question is no.
Yeah, she did.
So she was doing things that she wasn't supposed to.
That was with our father's permission.
Okay. But the reason she didn't have a driver's license is because she failed her driving test, correct?
No, she was scared.
Okay, here's when the objection came in, but he couldn't find the microphone, so we simply didn't hear about it.
What is the religious objection?
My objection, Your Honor, to this last question is no foundation for her knowledge.
She just answered that the reason she
Well,
didn't fail the test.
you can address it on redirect. I'll overrule the objection.
Okay.
Now, you told Detective Anderson that she failed her driver's test, correct?
If that's what I said, then yeah, I just don't have any knowledge of that now or memory.
Would listening to that interview help refresh your recollection?
I'm sure it would.
Runaway approach?
You may.
And for the record, I'm going to play a portion of Exhibit
That
86.
this can be
Mr. Jackson, just in the interest of time, since we're a little bit close, you want to maybe have her listen to it over lunch and come back to it after lunch?
We could do that. But she did still take the car out several times? She drove the car, correct?
On occasion, with our father's permission, yes.
Without a driver's license.
Yes.
You would agree that Alissa had behavioral issues?
When I spoke to Detective Anderson, yes.
Okay. And you told Detective Anderson that she got more attention because she needed it, correct?
That's what I told him, yes.
Alyssa's behavior was a topic of great stress in your home back in 2000, 2001, correct?
Yes.
Particularly between your dad and Alissa?
Yes.
She was a handful, I think, was the term that you used when describing her to Detective Anderson. Do you remember saying that?
I don't remember, but if you say so.
Given the things that you told Detective Anderson, that she had a temper, she was a partier, she was going out, would it make sense that you believe that she would be a handful given those things?
Yes, I was under that impression.
You were aware that Alissa was diagnosed with ADD?
No.
No? But you did tell Detective Anderson she was diagnosed with ADD.
Because that's what I was told.
Okay. And you said it showed up mostly in her short-term memory.
okay. The last couple of questions and answers seems to be she is expecting a rehabilitation. I believed so. I told him that. So this will be rehabilitated. Was it your dad who said this?
Well,
Stuff
and
like
that's
that.
why she should just say, look, that's what I was told. Answer like that for all of that.
Yeah.
Stop with well, she was driving without a license. Well, that's hella. Don't say with your dad's permission, because he didn't get the permission of the citizen she was going to run over. But here's my opinion, and it's probably bad, but I don't like how she's so defensive. I would much rather have, and I get where she's coming from, having lost a sister. She doesn't want to bring that stuff out, but it makes you look incredible when, you know, or for me as a juror, I am now writing things down, kind of saying, okay, but is this colored by emotion? Is this, testimony colored by certain things, which are understandable and human, but
Yeah. And Tweety, I'm playing this is in 1.25, so it might sound. I'm going back to normal speed because this might sound more badgering than it is. I didn't realize that.
Right. Do you remember telling him that?
I don't remember telling him that, but if that's what I said, that's what I believed at that time, yes.
I'll go back and play that one for her too, Your Honor. When you talked with Alissa, you said that you would not know that she had any issues, correct?
Yeah.
But she would have problems with comprehension and recall of memory, correct?
That's what I was told,
That's what you told Detective Anderson.
because that's what I was told.
In any of those interviews with Detective Anderson, did you say, this is what my dad said? Yes or no?
I was brainwashed to believe a certain thing about my sister from my father.
Okay. So these observations that you saw, they were all made up.
No, I made many statements about Alissa having a better memory than I did.
Yeah, I have to agree.
that's my problem with her being the star witness. Again, I can totally understand where she's coming from emotionally, but if I were just a juror, and I don't know all the backstory, y'all have all seen the the podcast and all the things. I know nothing of the backstory, but right now she seems like she has a vendetta, or at the very neutralist, she has a
Yeah.
filter through which she sees every piece of evidence.
Yeah. Speculation.
It's hilarious to me. I can do church lady and then also have these deep thoughts.
Pure speculation. She has two alternatives. Either Dad ended her, or she abandoned her because she was a bee. And that can be hard to handle a few years later when your sister still doesn't show up. Pure speculation. I have no evidence of it. But I have to agree with MG Law that when that brainwash, I did not believe for 1 second. That was, I'm no body language or anything, but I've been in negotiations and mitigations for over 30 years. I have a BS detector built in my spine. And that tingle, yeah. You in the chat, yeah, I might be completely wrong. And you can call me an a-hole if you want to and disagree with me. I hope you do, at least some of you, or you can choose to believe me. But I have to say, I have to call it as I see it. And that's why this is a commentary channel, as well as I'm trying to guide you through the trial.
No, the dad is still a schmuck of the highest order.
Yeah.
Don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
guys.
Mm.
And it's totally possible that he told her, your sister was evil, terrible, horrible. And as a 12-year-old, you're going to believe your dad because you're probably, like Nicholas said, you're probably hurt she left you there alone, to deal with your dad, who's a crazy person, allegedly.
Yeah. But brainwashed to say these things. Yeah, but she wasn't brainwashed to being thrown up against the wall. She wasn't brainwashed to push back and being mean. I mean, there's something oddly wrong here. But let's continue so we don't.
Your dad would help her with her homework, correct?
Yes.
This was a nightly routine.
Yeah.
Maybe not every night, but was a regular thing.
Yeah.
In fact, you would actually do some of her homework too, correct?
We would swap.
Your dad and Alissa would work in the living room when they did the homework, correct?
Sometimes.
And it's actually, I believe you told Detective Anderson, that's when they got along best, when he was helping her.
Yeah.
So is that all made up too, or is something your
going
dad
up to
brainwashed you?
1.5
I haven't
again.
made anything up, sir.
Oh, yeah.
She had an
maybe.
IEP in school, didn't she?
Hold on. What happened there?
Your dad and Alissa would work in the living room when they did the homework, correct?
Sometimes.
And it's actually, I believe you told Detective Anderson, that's when they got along best, when he was helping her.
Yeah.
So is that all made up too, or is something your dad brainwashed you?
I haven't made anything up, sir.
She had an IEP in school, didn't she?
Objection, foundation.
Overruled. The witness may answer if she knows.
I believe so.
Yes. And the IEP was something that your dad fought for.
Objection, foundation.
Overruled. The witness may answer if she knows.
I'm not sure.
You were aware that he sued Deer Valley School District, correct?
Yes.
Alissa didn't have the best grades, did she?
No, I think she had pretty decent grades.
B's, C's, a few B's?
Yeah, I think it was like A's, B's, and C's. She
Oh, I
wasn't
can
allowed to get
answer
F's.
IEP.
She got D's though, correct?
I'm not sure.
It's so all of my sons have that. It's so if you maybe have a speech delay or ADHD, it's just the teachers will all get together with the involved, like say the speech therapist or the occupational therapist. You'll come up with goals for the year, different plans. Say you have oppositional defiant behavior, how to de-escalate, different things like that. What's a contract behavioral program? So it's supposed to help out with kids with special needs or ADHD, just to help them get through the days with that.
Mm.
She didn't like school, did she?
No, she liked attending school.
You told Detective Anderson that she didn't like school,
I would have to assume I meant her school work.
and she did poorly in school.
No,
She ditched classes.
not that I was aware of. I don't think.
You told Detective Anderson about a time that she ditched classes and you had her call you out also.
Oh, yes, many years before she went missing, yes.
When you were asked to describe Alissa on Thursday, you stated that she was happy mostly, correct?
Yeah.
She was friendly?
Yeah.
Everyone liked her?
I think so.
But when you told Detective Anderson that Alissa was big-eyed and was taken in the world, correct?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
You told Detective Anderson that Alissa was big-eyed and was taking in the world. Do you remember that?
No, but if you say so.
You said that she had an experimental attitude.
If you say so, sir.
Well, Detective Anderson asked you if she had an experimental attitude, and you said yes. And then he even asked you for an example. Do you remember that?
No.
And he said that if someone offered her something and told her it would make her feel good, she'd probably take it. Do you remember saying that?
I'm sure that's what I believed.
You told Detective Anderson she was bordering on being dangerously socially naive, correct?
If it's in that report, sir, then that's what I said.
Well, I'm asking you, did you say that?
I have almost no memory of that meeting from 15 years ago.
So a lot of the chat are saying, well, if you knew the backstory, the problem is that in a court of law, I mean, I'm not a lawyer or anything, but I don't think the jurors know the backstory.
No,
So
and we
it's
don't know we don't know what's going to be admitted. And also the backstory. What backstory have you been listening to? That's it. Because everything in a podcast or a news article may or may not be true. We don't know. This is the trial. If backstories are admitted, then we can acknowledge it. If it's not, at least I can't. I'm sure there is a backstory, but if it's not admitted, then it really doesn't exist.
at Wicked Psyched, there's a podcast that this particular sister runs. I don't know what the name is. I kind of came into this blindly. So
Mhm. Yeah, let's go on. So
Convenient the
lunch
things
break
that you remember
will
and
be
don't.
as short.
Objection, argumentative.
Sustained.
You gave an example when she was with friends that she would get into cars with strangers to go to parties, even though her friends didn't want to. Is that something that you told Detective Anderson?
That's what I was told, yes.
And here's the deal. This interview is 15 years ago. She was 19 then. She's 33 now, or 34, something of that sort. When I was in my 30s, I don't have a good memory, but I do have a clear memory of at what I did 10 to 15 years, especially if I was in a police interview. This is making me uncomfortable. But
Okay, it's a completely and utterly unpopular thing and a hot take, but this woman's entire livelihood depends on this being a cold case in which her father was, a mastermind criminal.
yeah,
Oh yeah, that's Cheddar in the background.
let's see if we are going.
You said that Alissa was trusting to a fault.
Okay, we don't have
consider her
many
extremely
minutes.
trusting, yeah.
Okay, we are almost caught
You
up.
said that she had difficulty foreseeing the consequences
will-
of her actions.
Okay, we are almost caught up. The cross-examination will probably continue after lunch. And so we will watch the last few minutes. I will send you on to the afternoon session. And as soon as that starts, no matter what time it says on my on the clock on my afternoon session, it will start. So you can go have a break, some food and stuff like that.
Yes, I'm sure.
You told Detective Anderson that she would give her phone number and addresses to strangers.
That's what I was told.
That's what you told Detective Anderson, correct?
Yes.
You said that Alissa wasn't much of a planner.
That sounds correct.
She didn't talk about her
Who is
future.
at 17?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think she knew what she wanted to do quite yet.
She was impulsive,
At times.
and she talked about leaving often, didn't she?
No.
You told Detective Anderson that she talked about leaving often.
Yeah, that's probably how I felt at the time.
Now I want to ask you about the day that Alissa ran away. She had left school before you had gotten up.
Yes.
at some
Interesting
point, your dad picked
question,
you up from
the
your
day
friend's
she
house.
ran away.
Yeah, because prosecution says disappeared. So that's
I know, I
just play of words.
You originally told police that you believed that was around 3 p.m.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Now there's some discrepancy on when you got out. You said think now maybe that you got out of school at 3:30
I think the school generally ended at 3:30, so that would be my assumption.
and that your dad picked you up at some point after that. You had to walk there and at some point you got there, correct?
Yeah, shortly after.
But you're not sure about the exact time.
No.
And you testified that when your dad picked you up, he was trying to get a hold of Alissa.
Yes.
She wasn't answering her phone.
Yes.
So he had repeatedly called her.
That's what he told me.
That was something that your dad did.
But you were in the car.
When you didn't pick up, he would call over and over and over, correct?
I didn't have a phone, so I'm not sure.
Well, sometimes you would borrow his cell phone, correct?
Yeah.
And if you didn't answer, he would call over and over. That's what you told Detective Anderson, correct?
That sounds like what he would do.
And he would just keep calling until you finally picked up.
I would assume so.
So when you guys got home, he was calling out for Alissa, correct?
I don't remember that.
Yeah.
You guys went to Alyssa's room.
I remember I went into Alyssa's room.
You told Detective Anderson that you guys went into her room, correct?
Yeah, I just remember going in first.
Okay. And her room was normally pretty clean.
Yes.
Things had a place.
Yeah.
But when you got home, there were contents from her backpack all over the floor.
Just in that front, like the doorway, I guess you could say, like a few feet within her room. Yeah.
Looked like something had been dumped out.
Yeah. It looked like her backpack had been dumped out. That was my assumption.
Were there drawers open?
No.
Everything else seemed to be in its place.
Yes.
Bed wasn't moved.
No.
Dresser wasn't out of place.
No.
No signs of a struggle.
No.
Didn't smell like any cleaning supplies had been recently used.
Not that I recall.
Didn't notice any blood in her room.
No.
Blood in the living room.
No.
Anything out of place in the living room?
Not that I recall.
Any blood in the kitchen?
No.
Anything out of place in the kitchen?
Not that I recall.
Any blood in the bathroom?
No.
Anything out of place in the bathroom?
Not that I recall.
Any blood in your room?
No.
Any blood in your dad's room?
No.
Anything out of place in your room?
Not that I recall.
Anything out of place in your dad's room?
I'm not sure I went in there. Not that I recall.
You drove home in your dad's truck, correct?
Yes.
That was the GMC Sierra, I think you said it was, white?
It was a white truck.
Now, you talked about on cross-examination about your dad acquiring a new truck, correct?
You mean direct examination?
Direct examination, sorry. About your dad acquiring a new truck some point after Alissa had gone missing.
Yes.
And you remember talking to Detective Anderson saying the reason he did that was because it was to tow quads. We got a bigger truck.
I don't recall.
You don't remember saying that?
Don't.
I think it's a good time to stop, Your Honor, given
All right.
the amount of impeachment I have with it.
All right. Ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take our noon recess. I'll ask you to be
the
back in
number
the
of
jury room not later than
impeachment he
1:30.
has. Oh,
Please remember the admonition. You may leave everything in the courtroom if you'd like. Jury is now excused.
all right, folks. Thank you so much for joining us this morning session. It started a lot late. I had hopes for more, much more. Oh, wrong.
I'm trying to go through myself and think, okay, am I judging her too harshly, or either way, I just think she has an angle, which is fine, but
Mm.
there's not a lot of facts in this case. There's not a lot of, evidence. I need her to be very credible, and right now I'm not finding her that way.
You're disappearing, Mo. You're you're almost back. Yeah, the credibility for me, especially with the brainwashing comment, that took me off. How many years has she coached herself for this testimony? I'm having a hard time actually believing her.
Well, and it's the brainwashing thing again. If they had brought out on direct that the dad was controlling, that the dad was, it was me or the highway kind of thing. And
but
I
so
would-
far, so far it's the recordings, his manic recording, but he recorded every phone call, or at least we don't know yet. The defense might have something on that. It really wasn't every. Sometimes it took a tape to over-record it. I don't know. The video recordings was VCR tapes has a span of 8 hours. Then you have to get a new one or overrun one of the old ones. We don't know. Old VCR tapes on that kind. Yeah, it's not that he did physical video recordings that he kept daily, but the phone recordings. So it's a lot of the defense.
If they had 3 other witnesses on that said, look, this man was crazy controlling. I saw him videotape his daughters while they were at work, this, that, and the other. And then she came on to say, look, I was brainwashed. That would sell much easier. Y'all, if I come up with a better strategy, the world is in danger.
Yeah. And thank you, Gigi, for providing moderation and linking and everything.
Yes, thank you, Gigi.
Yeah, I will send you all off to the afternoon so we can get a break, water break, bathroom break, bite to eat and everything. And I'll see you when this starts up again. No matter when it
So
starts
5
up,
o'clock.
it's 9:20 p.m. in Sweden. Here's what probably will happen. Today, I will do a full stream. Then I will do the Vices way. I will do the morning. And then the afternoon, the day after, so we catch up. Otherwise, it's going to be way too late for me. And that gets Sal to courtroom on the afternoons, everything done, and then he might join us during breaks and stuff, so he can tell you about his experiences. And this is his Cash App that I'm posting now. Send him for gas money and a cup of coffee, please, because he's doing this on his spare time.
And bail money.
And bail money if he gets arrested, because he is being
is
too
Sal.
touchy, being Sal with Stumpy, and might actually call him Stumpy.
Oh my gosh, justice for Sal. Justice for Sal.
Justice for Sal. Yeah.
And it looks like
Yeah.
storms are coming in, so I don't know if I'll be in the afternoon, but hopefully I will.
Okay. But I'll send you all off now, and I'll see you soon, I guess. Bye. And where's that?